Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 1 of Road to Connect. I'm Dara, and I'm with Cvent's event marketing team.
And I am Robin, also with Cvent's event marketing team, just, graced by Dara's presence on the daily and absolutely delighted to be with you today.
Awesome. Yeah, we're here to do a Q&A. We went to our Cvent community members and asked you guys what you guys wanted to know about event marketing, specifically about marketing behind the scenes for Cvent Connect. So we'd love to answer some of your questions today about our best practices and what we'd recommend.
Fantastic. So, okay, how do you look at last year's metrics and trends to plan the next event? Is it more than just simple numbers? Thank you, John, for submitting this question. We really appreciate it, and we are very passionate about it. I think I'll take this one, Dara, if that's cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
I am particularly jazzed about data metrics. I love a good Excel sheet, geek out to the max. But when you ask, how do you look at last year's metrics? The answer is, how do we not? Okay, so we look at a myriad of data points to shape programming formats, the event pattern, the perfect balance of content, how we market that content, and when. This includes data like travel behavior. When are folks arriving? When are they heading out? Session ratings, feedback, the attendee journeys trends. Did they absorb more types of content versus others? And then how each of our marketing tactics are performing. We find it valuable to keep to a minimum significant changes year over year. And the reason that we do that is so that we build a really robust set of data year over year, yes, but across multiple years. And not everyone is in a position where they can do that. But my guidance is always like, don't fix what's not broken, right? If you see that areas of your program and your event are successful, they're well received, like, let's not shake that up. Let's shake up other little areas that have room for improvement, because what you're doing then is creating years long data trends that help you to really realistically, like, we might get a question from our CMO, how are we pacing on registration? If I'm only looking 1 year back, we know what the last 4 years have looked like, 5 years have looked like, and no 2 years have looked the same. No 2 years have been apples to apples. And so it's greater for me to frankly be able to look back at trends 2018 to 2019, right? Things like that, where if you're keeping a kind of core event strategy, you're able to look back multiple years in the past and really compare and come up with incredibly thoughtful, data-driven strategies in year. And when you ask, is it, anything more than just simple numbers? I'd frankly say no. It's really just right there in the data, and especially what Cvent is popping out for you, incredible value. And if you're looking at that data, I might say with a small asterisk, like, sure, read the survey feedback as well. We certainly do. We spend a lot of time and effort reading every word of our survey feedback. But even if looking at just those numbers tell a story, an incredibly valuable story that we leverage in every aspect of our pre, during, and post event marketing and event curation strategy.
Yeah, and in addition to the amazing event data that you can get out of Cvent, so like the survey data points that Robin mentioned, there's also tools that you can utilize like UTMs, SEO, Adobe Tracking Analytics. Those are all ways that you can really drill down into how your marketing efforts are performing and look at which assets are driving the most registrations, the most visits, and then track when you're seeing increased SEO and reg interest to determine how and where to invest our marketing attention. Because I'm sure you guys are kind of in the same boat as us, where you don't have unlimited resources. So you need to figure out where to prioritize your marketing efforts. So we are definitely using tools like UTMs and SEO to try to figure out like which tactics are really moving the needle, and then let's invest more in those. So Megan asks, I was wondering if you would be able to share which photographer and videographer you used for the Cvent Connect Europe conference. I thought they were fantastic. Megan, thank you so much for asking. We will absolutely share the photographer and videographer with you. We will share them in the resources section. And I think Robin is going to jump in and talk about how we build a partnership with our creative team.
Absolutely. Megan, you said you thought they were fantastic. We agree. They absolutely were. we are always delighted to find incredible partners in this particular area. And here's why. We enjoy really developing that solid partnership well in advance of the event, right? We work with our creative team. We work with the photographer and the videographer directly, because what they create has almost innumerable impact on our event, how we are promoting it, the feelings that our attendees, like that is a source of delight to our attendees when they get to see their images, when they get to see them in the promos. It's absolutely priceless when we go into our next year for creating our promo assets, so our website, our social content, our emails. We all know a picture speaks 1,000 words, right? And we've been in small scenarios where we didn't have that picture. We didn't have that real gem that we were looking for. We know it was there. We know it existed. We want this photo to like really demonstrate the excitement, the passion, the experience that our attendees are having. It really does come through in those photos and in those videos. And so we sit down with our creative team. We talk through shot lists. We provide examples. We see samples of photographers and videographers' work. And if I could give any piece of guidance, there's so much talent in this particular area, so much. And everyone has a different, area of expertise. I would say, know what you're looking for, find your vision, create that vision board, and don't back down. Wait until you find that right resource, because getting the right products back, getting the right photos, getting the right videos, that is going to set you up for success when it comes to creating promotions for your following year. And we are just delighted, like Dara said, in our resources section, we're sharing that. But we are delighted with those partners that we've found. And this truly is one area where Dara and I get jazzed up. We can't stop celebrating them and their talent and what they then are in turn delivering to us for us to populate out to the masses. So couldn't agree more with you, Megan, there. And Dara, I know you have some of your own thoughts on this as well. We're very passionate.
Yeah, yes. It's just because it's so important to get those good photos like you were talking about. Like that is our main selling point for the next year. So it's really crucial that we nail it. I think the only thing that you didn't cover that I wanted to mention, which may just be common sense, but make sure that you're filling your photographer in with what is on the agenda, because they do not know the agenda as well as you do. So you actually want to go through them and be like, hey, these are like the big things you want to hit throughout the day. Highlight them out for them. Like I said, this may be just common sense and things that you're doing already, but we found that actually making sure that, your photographers know which sessions are going to have, for example, your CMO is speaking at them. Your photographer may not know that, but you definitely know that you want a picture of that. So just make sure that you're setting up time with your photographer to get that picture in. So thank you so much for the question. I think we're going to move on to the next. How do you approach deciding which and how much of a marketing channel to utilize? Which ones do you find to be your most effective? This was asked by Tori Martinez. So thank you so much, Tori. Robin, do you want to start off this one and then I'll add on?
I would be delighted. So we at Cvent, we have a really involved leadership team. And so we meet with them really regularly, providing updates on how we're doing, marketing our events, etc. And in those meetings, inevitably, we get lots of feedback and recommendations and suggestions. And going back to one of our earlier questions and answers, data. That's how we approach deciding which and how often and to whom, right? Because maybe you can do all things for all people all the time. Cvent, we really need to be methodical. We don't want to just throw all the spaghetti at all the walls and see what sticks. We want to really methodically and strategically look at what is working with which audience, what's the message, how is it landing, how is it converting, who's receiving it, and who's registering for our conference. And then we do more of that. And that's not performing, we do less of that. And we meet monthly with a good, robust, handful of report and analytical experts on our side. And even without that, just setting aside the time to look at what is coming out of Cvent. Like you don't need analyses necessarily to just look at some numbers, look at some quick performance metrics, and make decisions on, that didn't land, let's modify, or that blew out of the water, anything that we've seen, let's do more of that. And that is really what comes into play when we are sitting, across the table from our executives, and we're talking our CMO. He's really always jazzed about our conference, and he wants it to succeed. He wants us to do more, and we are able to really methodically let him know it would be the best use of our resources to do XYZ. So resources in terms of budget, folks working on it, everything that goes into the lift of leveraging a certain marketing tactic over something else. And then he's like, oh, great, you're on it. That's perfect. That's fantastic. And then sure enough, in the end, we rock out all of the objectives that we've set to hit, right? And so again, it goes right back to data, and it goes back to setting aside and prioritizing the time that you need to look at that data and make really methodical decisions on it too. So.
Yeah, and I want to tap into that, just kind of talk about which marketing deliverables we find to be most effective. So the second half of this question, I kind of have a boring answer because I think it's going to be something that you could already predict what the answer is going to be. But sales is definitely our number one in terms of a reg driver. We provide lots of sales enablement and marketing tools to help them succeed. We try to give them things like attendee guides, promotional slides. We try to give them everything that they could possibly need to answer questions about the conference. And I think that sales and marketing partnership works really well for us. The other one is email, which I feel like that's just pretty much the obvious answer to this question. Email is the number one marketing driver for us in terms of virtual reg. And then it also is a big proponent of our in-person reg. We also see paid search doing well for us. Once again, another one that's like a pretty easy checkbox that I think most people are doing. But that has actually been really great for converting in those people that are organically looking for Cvent Connect. And then lastly, just make sure that you're utilizing all of your internal properties. You may have tons of real estate on your website or other properties that your company may own or your organization that you may not have thought to put like a little banner, or one of our top performing tactics is our urgency banner on top of our own cvent.com site. So just look for places on your own internally owned website that you might be able to cross promote your event. We've seen cross promotion work really, really well for us and drive a ton of reg. So try to find those like little hidden gems of internal sources where you may already have high traffic that you can then go and convert additional people. One other place that I'm just remembering too is when we have people fill out forms on our website, like our thank you forms, we actually see a ton of reg come in through that. So we will have them fill out the thank you form, and then there's a little offer at the bottom that's also, hey, come register for Cvent Connect too. So kind of those double hits where you can already have interest and then tap into that again. So thank you so much. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Robin.
Oh, no, I wanted to piggyback off of that because you said something that triggered. This was something that one of our web analytics partners pointed out a couple years ago, and we've just really made it a best practice that when you are leveraging your whatever the marketing tactic is, think beyond just that one tactic. Think about the full flow, their full experience from engagement to registration, and cut out any unnecessary middlemen, right? We simplified and cleaned up a lot of the clicks that we were forcing folks down, which was like, you click an ad and then it takes you to our homepage, and then you've got to find the register now button, and then the register now button's kind of convoluted and it gives you more information that you really already know, and then you have to click it, right? So we cleaned all that up. So just look at the full flow because at no point do you want someone, they've clicked, they're engaged, they're interested. You don't want them falling off, right? So you've got your marketing tactics and what's working and what's grabbing them. And now just make sure that you do follow that through all the way to the point of registration and make it as simplified and seamless as possible for the best possible attendee experience. Can't recommend that enough.
Yeah, love that. Thank you for adding that on. Yeah. So I think that is all the questions that we have for today. So thank you so much to everyone that asked a question on community. We would love to keep the conversation going. So please add questions on our community board or onto our discussion panel here on Attendee Hub. We would love to hear from you guys on what questions that you have. Robin and I will both also be on site, so we'd love to connect with you there. Feel free to add us on Attendee Hub or on LinkedIn, wherever you want to find us. We will be there. But so happy that you joined us today, and look out for more pre-event Road to Connect sessions.
Love it. See you all in Texas.